I want to apologize for not able to come your way with Spirit Friday. I was really rammed with a lot of stuff. Friday, they are the high days, so I always at the altar and I'm preparing the altar for sacrifices and all. So I'm really sorry. Listen, I'm sorry that I couldn't come your way, but I'm praying that all things being equal, we could do Spirit Friday this Friday. I can't believe we missed 2 Fridays on Spirit Friday. I can't even believe that. If somebody had told me, I wouldn't believe it. So I'm genuinely apologizing for that, and I know without a doubt that this Friday we are going to see Spirit Friday. I pray, all things being equal, we see Spirit Friday. But today, let's talk about this sensitive subject that a lot of people are afraid to talk about. Hell. Most people don't want to talk about hell, and it will shock you, but if reality should set in, you would understand that a lot of people have their religious or spiritual choices, or have their standpoint or point of views, or the lane that they pick because of this subject, hell. If it wasn't of this subject, hell, a lot of people would make different choices with their spirituality. So I think this is something that we really need to address. So let's go into it. Let's talk about hell. Akwaba. Momo bibiara kwaba. Oye me nije bebre de mutumba wa kwem. Mede melanated truth jumezi ba wo fie we dwuma be ma ehwe me bia. Oye me nije kese. I'm really excited and humble. Yeda odoman komase. Yeda obwade ase. Yeda tuma we twen ho ina ase. Yeda tuma we busum o me busum o boyan ho ban. Onye anko na onye be ina ase. Efri esi ajo abene awku yawo. Efi amen. Esure tumi asase tumi a owo nsum so da asase tumi a owo jewi ase tumi o bibiara we twen ho ehye ina na nanom ina ye mo na da ase ye na nanom we won bibi akose ye da won ase. So I'm speaking a lot of fancy, but I just want to say we are grateful and humble to the powers that be and to our ancestors and all the powers and spirits that protect and ensures that we have our way. We pray, and I'm still praying for our brothers and sisters that are scattered across the face of the earth, that we see peace and we enjoy peace. That we really, I'm praying for all our brothers and sisters scattered across the face of the earth, that we live, we find ourselves in great health, we take care of our bodies, and then we live so that we can fulfill while we're here. I always pray for our brothers and sisters, and I also want to thank everybody that keeps following us, everybody that keeps adding up to the family, whether it's been an ad a week or an ad a month, whatever it is, so long as there's additions, there are additions coming in. I'm so grateful, I'm so humble. I think we're about 12 to 800 subscribers. Listen, I get excited when I see these numbers. You have no idea, because the things that we say are not the average stuff, the everyday stuff. So I believe when you do the everyday stuff, a lot of people would pursue after you. But when you say the things that I'm saying, the numbers is going to go this way. So I appreciate every single one of us that makes it possible for us to have this community, this family, everyone that has subscribed to our channel, to our family. We see this more of a family than a channel. So you are awesome. You are the reason why I am fired up every day to come your way with the melanated truth and all that, and all the other programs, or all the other different sections that we have on the melanated truths. Also thank everyone that tuned in yesterday to our Zoom community. I enjoyed it. I mean, it's sad the way we end. It's sad the way we closed. We were going to end in prayer, but our time was up and we had to leave. So, but I know Sunday is going to be awesome. Listen, don't miss our Zoom family meetings for anything. It's such an informative place that we all learn. I go there to learn too, because people share stories and their revelations and experiences, and it adds to my experience and to my knowledge. So I look forward to Sunday, but thank you for making it a memorable one. Now, talking about hell, let's dive into it. So I want to go into the subject of hell, but obviously, before you get to hell, you need to die first. So the question comes in, or the concept of life after death is sort of the gateway to either go to heaven or hell, and everybody runs away with the subject life after death, or the concept life after death. But this is something that all of us need to understand. That statement doesn't even make sense. The statement of life after death does not make sense. Life cannot die, neither death can live. Death is dead and life is life. Life cannot die. So this whole concept of, what do you think about life after death? Life after death. It doesn't make sense. Life continues to live. Life is eternal. You understand? So life is just what it is. Life is always happening. Life, see, most of us have come to believe that death is the opposite of life. That is not. Death is not the opposite of life. Death is the opposite of birth, not life. So there's nothing like life after death, because life keeps going on. Life keeps happening all the time. Life is evolving, is happening, is going on always. Life does not die. The opposite of death is birth. The opposite of birth is death. Life is not the opposite of death. So death has nothing to do with life. Life is constantly happening. I know somebody will, what are you saying? So are you saying people don't die? It's obvious. I mean, everybody, we see people die all the time. What are you even talking about? That life is not the opposite of. Don't stress about it. So the subject of death is widely misappropriated or miseducated. Meaning a lot of people have taught on this subject not understanding what death is themselves. Because when you begin to teach what death is, your understanding to death will totally change. So most people's opinion about this subject is all the same. You die. You die. Life dies. Your life comes to an end. Most people have this opinion. But life does not end. Life will never end. That's just what it is. Death is just a transitional period. Or death is just a name or a word, I say a noun, given to the transition from this place to the next place. Just as birth is transitional, when you are born, you are evolving into this dimension. When you die, you evolve into another dimension. So it's just like in and out. In and out. Out is not the end of in, or in the end the beginning of out. When you go into something that wasn't your beginning, you came into the scene and you go out of the scene. But that is not the end of you when you came into the scene. Do you understand? We don't die, we keep evolving. We don't die. We keep evolving. We keep moving through this cosmos, through the universe. We keep moving from one stage, one dimension to the other. But we don't end. As a lot of people pertain that to be what it like, that's the end of your life. Life does not end. The process of moving from one stage to another stage is what everybody talks about. That is either birth or death. It's just the process of moving from one stage to the other stage. So as you are born here, as you get born here, you die somewhere. You understand? You exited somewhere and came here. You understand what I'm saying? You exited somewhere and you came here. It's the same way you exit here and go somewhere else. So you die somewhere, you are born here. You die here, you are born somewhere else. Just as before you got here, preparations were made for 9 months in your mother's womb to accommodate you here, is the same way when you are transitioning into the next dimension, or everything you do here is preparational to the life you are going to enjoy next, or you are going to live next, or to the place you are going next. So it's transitional. We are passing through. So everything going on or everything happening now is part of the bigger picture, which most of us or majority of us do not see or understand, because we are not taught. Nobody is teaching these things. Someone will ask the question, well, how do you know that you came from somewhere, you got here, and you are going somewhere? That is simple. Anyone can connect to the dimensions. That's a matter of fact. Every single one of us. The only thing is that we don't pay enough attention to what is happening around us. Our attention majority of the time is focused on certain things, certain cyclical things. So we are stuck in this routine of getting up, sleeping, getting up, sleeping, getting up, sleeping. Doing this and doing that and doing that and doing that. You sleep, you wake up. We are caught up in this cyclical moment. But life is beyond this cyclical moment. And everybody, if you can learn to pay enough attention, you can easily connect to the dimensions that are happening simultaneously as you live here on this earth. There are a host of things that are happening around you at the same time. Like I said, simultaneously. There are a host of things that are happening at the same time. So just as you are putting food in your stomach, something else is going on at the same time. Something else is going on around you at the same time that you don't see. Something else is going on in the dimensions that you don't see. Things don't just wait on you to happen because you want it to happen. Things are moving at the same time. So anybody can easily connect to this thing. I mean, let me show you something. Okay, let's practice this. Just sit still. Close your eyes. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Don't think about anything. Don't allow thought to happen to you. Just still your mind, still your heart, still everything. All of a sudden you begin to feel that you are bigger than just you sitting there, and there's nothing that is in your way. You begin to feel that even the walls around you don't exist. Everything around you don't exist. It just, you find yourself in this vacuum, this vast, it's like there's this vastness around you. And you begin to feel that you are connected to something, like there's a resoundness of life all around you, evolving all around you. Right? Do you see it? Just relax. Don't think. Don't stress. Don't think about anything. Let me show you something simple. Now open your eyes. The minute you open your eyes, you disconnect. You see you are coming back. Do you see you are coming back? The minute you open your eyes, you disconnect. The minute you close your eyes and you stop all that process, you stop the availability of intellect, you begin to float in to the dimensions. Do you feel it? You're beginning to connect. Life is happening every second. You do not know it, you do not feel, you do not connect to it because you are conscious. You are evolving in intellect, in survival. But the minute you can disconnect, unplug from this, you tune in to that. So it doesn't mean it is not evolving, it is not happening. You are not just tuned in to it. The awareness of this would have you the understanding that your body is actually what is limiting you from experiencing everything else that is evolving around you. You get what I'm saying? Your body. Because the minute you shut your eyes, your body don't exist anymore. When you do this, do you feel a hand move? No, you think a hand is moving, but you realize that you are more than just this hand that is moving. You can just go in. So your body is actually what is limiting you to experience all that is happening simultaneously. We need to understand that what we have as our body is an accumulation over a period of time. What you have as this physical body is an accumulation over a period of time. This accumulation started the minute you decided to show up in this dimension. It started in your mother's womb. Kept accumulating. So this body, that's what we say. When you accumulate something, what does it mean? It means you keep piling on. You keep adding on to it. You understand what I'm saying? If you can add on to something, if you can accumulate something in, it simply means that you are not this something. You are just adding on to it. So over a period of time, we accumulate what we see physically. We keep building it. This body that we have is borrowed. It's just a bit of loan taken from the Mother Earth. So the Mother Earth just gave us a piece of the planet. This body as we have is coming from the planet. It's just a piece of it. It's just a piece of existence that is shelved into the you, the me that you see here. The you that is borrowed, is loaned to you by the Mother Earth. If you think about this, you will know how generous the Mother Earth is. That is why you have to learn to thank and appreciate the Mother Earth every single day of your life. Because everything that you are is coming directly from the Mother Earth. And if you are lost, if you have no idea what I'm saying, I've done a lot of videos about how the body is, the food, everything around us is a building material of this body, is being built. So you are building, you are adding on. You understand what I'm saying? Anything that gets added on is not you. Do you get it? Anything that you add on to you is not you. Because you can never be added on to. It's yours, it's your body, it's your hand. But you see the word we are using, yours, not you. We don't say it's you. We say it's yours, it's your body. We don't say your body is you. So there's a difference. You are a different entity to your body. So all these accumulations that we have around us does not define us. It tells a piece of information about us, but it's not the totality. That's why we have things like my name, I am called so. It's not you, but that is the name you've decided to identify yourself with. That's why in the account system, you don't have a name. You are given the name of the day that you came into existence, because you don't have a name. You are given a name according to certain patterns, according to certain things that was ushered at your birth process, according to circumstances that governs your birth. You are not a name. You don't have a name. They only give you something to help identify you. So this knowledge, this intelligence have always been practiced by our fathers. That is why you are not giving names. And when I say you're not giving names, you don't come into this world with your own name. You come, and per the circumstances of your birth, you are given a name. So the name is not you. By the circumstances that you find yourself, you are given a location, geographic location we call country. You are not the country. That's why you don't say I country. You say my country, my name. It's not you. That is not you. My body, my eyes, my mouth, my nose, my organs. That is not you. But these are borrowed entities that you have gathered from the earth. And you have put them together to give you a body that helps you function on the face of this earth. If you think about this, you will know how generous the Mother Earth is. You will know. So she gives you a host so that you can also come into this dimension and experience this dimension called earth. So your body was given to you so that you can come into this dimension and experience it. You are not this body. You are the vehicle that was given. This body is the suit. This body is the suit that was given you so that you can also have a taste of this dimension coming from where you came from. Do you understand? Let me try to help somebody understand it. It's like the way we have dreams, right? You dream, you have dreams. In your dream world, a lot of us would want to remember what you did, what was said, what was done in the dream world. So if somebody present to you that, listen, I have this technology that can allow you experience the dream world in your real, I call it the real life, to experience that and stay there and memorize everything, and you can get to come back and go, but at least it will give you some, you have a feel of how that world is. Would you not be interested in that? It is the same thing. We were in other dimensions. We saw this earth, beautiful earth dimension, and we say we want to come and experience this earth dimension. So the Mother Earth agrees through your parents, your vessels, your incubators, that allows you come into this dimension and say that, okay, let me see. This person and this person will make a perfect combination for your character, for who you are. So these people come together, they decide to have a relationship, give birth to you, and you appear into this dimension, and the Mother Earth keeps supplying building materials to build this body enough to experience this dimension enough. So you are not this body. You are the only thing, the suit, the jacket that was given you so that you can experience this dimension. So the Mother Earth gives you this amazing body that you have for you to come and experience this dimension. As to what you do with this body is totally dependent on you. As to how you take care of it is totally dependent on you. As to how you enjoy your stay here is totally dependent on you. What building materials you would allow into this body is totally dependent on you. You make all these choices, but you are not this body. Do you understand? So the Mother Earth gives us this body, and per the contract that you went into before coming to this dimension, when your time is up, like when you take a loan from the bank, they give you a number of years that you can pay back the loan. When your time is up, the Mother Earth collect everything that she gives you. Collect all the bread, all the apples, everything you ate. Collect everything back into herself so that she can balance herself out. Because she takes a piece of hair for you, say enjoy. But when you are done with it, you bring it back to where you found it. So the Mother Earth, when the time is up, comes to collect what she gave you. Now the thing is that she does not collect it at a go. She does not collect it instant, because the Mother Earth is a compassionate mother. She's a loving mother. So when it's your time to leave this experience that you're having now, she starts to remind you. So all of a sudden, you start growing old. You start growing gray. Your skin starts to drop. Your hair turns gray. Your eyes begins to dimmer. These are all notifications to your body and to you as the owner of this body, or the owner of this, by lack of a better word. Notifications are sent to you. Your time is running up. So now you begin to feel joints in your bones. All of a sudden, this body begins to get uncomfortable, meaning the contract that was given has expired. So notification gets sent to you. That's why your organs begin to fail, your eyes, everything, it keeps going. But it's all dependent on everybody's experience, how every single person experienced the exit from this dimension. Everyone's exit from this dimension is totally dependent on the choices you made while you were here. The exit is not the same. That is why everybody don't die the same way. We came in differently. What you did with the vessel I was giving you will determine how you. But don't you dare think the Mother Earth, death just comes for anybody. No. Death sends warnings, sends signals. Anybody that is spiritual would know when it is their time to die. That is why majority of the time, when you are horribly sick, the immediate thing that comes to your mind, oh, I don't want to die. Am I coming to die? It feels like I'm about to die. Notification. So when you get that note of a sickness, why? Is it my time? Is it my... The body knows. Your consciousness knows. So all of it begins to... The real you knows. All of you begin to... Is it my time? I feel like dying. Then all of a sudden you get well, and all those feelings like you're about to die goes away. These are notifications telling you that it's time to give back the body the Mother Earth gave you to experience this dimension. But when the time comes and she wants to collect it gradually, just as she gave you to enjoy, it becomes troublesome. When the time comes, it becomes a fight. Now, all of a sudden, people start to write their own concept and ideologies and interpretation to this simple, natural order. Anybody that is terrified, I wrote a joke. I pray it comes out as a joke. Anybody that is terrified of giving back this borrowed body from the Mother Earth is a clear indication that when they come for your money, when they come for something from you, they are never going to pay back. Because the Mother Earth herself, they are refusing to give back what the Mother Earth gave them. How much more you? These are anybody that is terrified of death, is afraid of death. Don't trust them with your money. That is just, by the way, just a joke. But we have to get this understanding. Because this body is borrowed, you shouldn't be scared to give it back when the time comes for you to give it back. Because when you lose your body, that does not mean you've lost your life. Your body is not your life. Your life cannot die. Of course, except when the Creator decides, okay, that's it. I'm closed. Case closed. I'm done. But the only person that can take your life from you is the Creator. Spirituality is sweet. The Creator is the only person that can take your life. Cannot be taken by anybody. Nobody can take your life. What the Mother Earth only takes from you is the body you use to experience this dimension. You borrow this body from the Mother Earth. Time's up. You give this body to the Mother Earth. Case closed. As simple as that. It's only ignorance that keeps you afraid. It's just because you don't know that there's no school teaching these spiritualities and these understanding and teaching you about the life before and now and after. Nobody's teaching these things. So it gets you so terrified about the idea of death. You borrow the vessel. It's time to return it. You return the vessel. You move on. That is just what it is. That is not the end of life. That is the end of your time in this dimension. You move on to the next dimension. You have to learn to constantly tell yourself, you are not your body. I am not this body. I am in this body, but I am not this body. This is not my real self. This is the scaffold that has given me the platform to be able to walk in this dimension. This is not my real self. You understand? It is yours, all right. It is your body. But when your time is up, you go, you move on. Time is up. You put down this body, you put it down, you move on to the next dimension. You pick up another body if you want to, or if the next dimension is a place that you can express yourself in your original body, your real self that you see in dreams. Whenever you see yourself in dreams, then great. If it's a dimension that you have to pick up another suit just as you picked up this suit, great. But your life is always evolving. Your life does not end here. So, what is this hell that everybody talks about? We need to understand that this subject is mentioned more in organized religion and organized religious books than anything else. This subject does not exist in the spirituality of our fathers. It makes you question this a lot, you know. Like, if this subject of hell only exists in the books of religion, then what is the agenda? Why do we have this subject in there? What is the purpose of this subject? Why do people want us to know about this subject and be terrified about this subject? The question is, which is more important? If there is a heaven and there is a hell, which is more important? Should heaven not be the most important? But I want anybody to give me more than 20 verses in the scriptures that talks about your life in heaven. Anybody? Give me 20 places in the scriptures. But you find numerous places that talks about this hell. If the greater is what is the most important, then why is it not spoken often about? Why is the subject of hell always spoken about and always being used to taunt everybody else? Eternal torture, eternal damnation versus eternal glory. Which one should you talk about the most? That is why I said it makes you question this whole agenda. This makes this subject very important because if Jesus is claimed to be who he is, then this place is real. And if he is not claiming to be who he is, then this place is not real. And you already know my stand about Jesus. I'm not here to make a case for Jesus. But let's stay on Christianity because that's what I'm most familiar with. If Christianity is teaching, because all evangelists, their major message is you go to hell. And they are preaching this message is because they think supposedly Jesus taught this message, which is not true. Jesus never taught anybody to go and preach about hell. It's no way, even in the New Testament or the Christian Bible. So, if the subject of Jesus, the concept of Jesus is not real, then it makes hell not real. Then it makes the teachings of all these evangelists not real. So if Jesus is real, then everything else that follows after him becomes a reality or possibility. You know my stand on Jesus. That is not the subject for the day. So to go to this conclusion of knowing whether this is real or not, or whether this is the issue, we need to address very few things that has promoted this concept of hell. If you paid attention to what I was teaching about us coming into this dimension to experience with the aid of the Mother Earth, so that when the time is up, we go to the next dimension, you wouldn't even waste your time about this subject of hell. You would rather want to invest in knowing what happens after your experience here in this dimension. But of course, if you are a Christian or into any organized religion, then you would want to know about these things. We need to understand that the entirety of organized religion is a reward-based religion. Meaning, while you are on earth, you are not really living. You are only here to live a certain kind of life that would help you get into the real life. This is the standpoint of view of religion. You are here to live a certain mandated life, a certain expected life, so that when you pass the mark, you can transition either into heaven or hell. This is very ironic, because if this is not the real life, so therefore the things we acquire is not necessary, but the things, our attitude, our morals, our actions is what would decide whether we would enjoy the real life or not, then why is organized religion accruing and obtaining so much wealth here in this dimension? If the life here is so useless and you are just here so that you can pilgrimage to the next life, the real you, then why are they accumulating all this wealth? They should not even think of money. They should not think of inheritance. They should not think of properties. But organized religion has a lot of money accrued sitting down. They don't even share it among their congregations so that everybody can enjoy it, because they teach you this is not the life. Store up your treasures in heaven where it cannot be destroyed. But yet they are busy storing up their treasures here on this earth. Why? Why are they doing that? You see the irony? This is why you must question the things they are teaching you. When you are in spirituality, this thing has no hold on you because you don't believe in any hell. But if you're not in spirituality and in religion, I need to take you through this process so that you understand, you wake up to the fact that you are being played. You are being played here. The subject of heaven and hell does not appear in the indigenous African spirituality. This idea is very foreign to the intelligence and the spirituality of our fathers. I remember when I was a Christian pastor, of course I was operating with all the concepts and all the teachings of Christianity so much that, listen, anybody out there that thinks that, oh, he's born, he's backslided, he's evil, he's this, he's preaching, he's an antichrist. Listen, I was worse. Whatever Christian jacket you think you have on, so therefore you can say anything you want to say, I was worse. Let me show you how worse I was. Because of Christianity, I thought my own dad was burning in hell. My own father. And listen, if you know me personally, you know I don't joke with my father. But because of Christianity, I thought my father was in hell. And I don't remember whether I said it or not, but one day I met my family, or either I thought about saying it, or I met my family, about to tell my family that, listen, we got to take our lives serious. We got to be born again. We have to be born again and spirit-filled and tongue-speaking, because daddy is burning in hell right now. He didn't make it to heaven. I've seen it. Listen, whatever you think you got going on, so you won't listen to what I'm saying, I was worse. I said my own dad was in hell. Not because my dad was a wicked man. No. Listen, I'm a daddy boy, you know. My dad was everything. He's the best person, best human I've ever seen on the face of the earth. My dad. So I'm very sure, and I know one day when my dad talks to me, I know we will bring this subject up. He's dead, so don't be surprised when I say when he talks to me, you can talk to your ancestors, your father. So I used to say that my dad is burning in hell, and I'm pretty sure my dad would look at me like, look at this fool, look at this sellout. You so much of a sellout, you are selling your own daddy out, that your own father, I am burning in some hell. Fool. I thought I taught you better, boy. My son is a seller. I'm sure my dad was telling the elders, the ancestors, my son is a seller. Look at him thinking that I'm burning in hell. No wonder I told you, you will never have the wisdom to amount the wealth that I see around you. This was the saying of my dad. And I'm thinking, why on earth was I going to find wisdom in Christianity to amount this wealth if I was thinking my dad was burning in hell? And my dad wasn't far from when he told me, I don't think you have the wisdom to understand the level of wealth that is around you. Because I was thinking, see how foolish I was. How is this wisdom? Your own dad burning in hell. Because I was using the standards of Christianity. I mean, that guy, you finally awake. You was talking some nonsense when you was a pastor, a Christian pastor. And this is the indoctrination that many of us are suffering from. The place that is this idea, the place that this idea is dominant in is organized religion. The concept of heaven and hell does not appear in scriptures. Like most people are made to believe that hell is the opposite of heaven. The concept of heaven, it does not appear in scriptures. Nowhere in the scriptures. When I say scriptures, of course, I've said it time and time. Genesis to Malachi. There's nowhere in the scriptures that has the concept of a heaven or hell. It's only in Christianity. Because hell is not the opposite of heaven. The opposite of heaven is the earth. And heaven, if you don't know, is a word that was given to the dimensions. The dimensions. The different dimensions that exist in the cosmos. That's what we call heavens. There's not just one heaven. So if you believe in the concept of heaven or hell, which particular heaven are people going to, and where is the hell? This is new. I'm not making a case for the teachings in the New Testament or for the New Testament. You know my standpoint of view. But the teachings of Jesus in the New Testament, you understand what I say that, right? I'm referring to the teachings in the New Testament. Believed in the afterlife, but there's nowhere in the New Testament, the teachings of Jesus, of course, that there is an eternal hell that is burning people. Jesus never believed, according to the teachings of the New Testament, that when we die, we are going into this place, either in a heaven or on earth. The teachings in the New Testament, the Christian Bible, says that there is indeed an afterlife, but this afterlife is right here on earth. It's happening here on earth. So you know, again, my point of the the bogus subject afterlife, because there's nothing like afterlife. Life is eternal. But I'm limiting myself to the knowledge of Christianity. So I'm talking foolishly now. So afterlife was the belief system of the teachings of the gospel, but not a heaven or hell. Jesus only taught that the soul that dies will not. Let me say it this way. Jesus taught that when you die, it's either you make it or you don't make it. In the sense that when you disobey God, you will be cut off and bent. Cut off, bent. That's the whole parable about the branches being cut to the fire. To burn. When a tree is put into fire, it burns, it ceases to exist in this dimension. Because trees also have spirit. Anyway, I'm not going into that. But Jesus was not saying anybody is going to any place that he was going to die eternally and tormented eternally and all of that, or a hell, eternal hell. No, he didn't believe that. In fact, another person in history that also didn't believe that was Socrates. Socrates believed that when you die, you either go to an absolute silence. It's like you're asleep, no memory, everything is gone, or you go to this place that you have the chance to conversate with your ancestors and the afterlife and have a conversation. Jesus, on the other hand, almost believed the same thing Socrates was talking about. Just that Jesus said, "What a provision is made in the kingdom of God, and you are going to exist in the kingdom of God if you obey, which is on earth, which is all happening on earth." But Jesus never believed. Listen, I triple dare anybody to show me one place that Jesus said you are going to burn eternally in hell. It doesn't exist. So this whole concept is borrowed and is adapted into Christianity. But this concept did not exist in Christianity, in the early churches anyway. And look at me, listen, Christians should hire me as their lawyer. Honestly, Christians and Christians pastors should come together and hire me as their lawyer, because I think I do a better defense for them than all their pastors. That's the absolute truth. The Gospels don't teach that. Don't teach anything about an eternal fire burning and waiting for people to be cast into. No, you see, the idea of heaven and hell originally came from the Greek philosophers. It was first articulated into the writings of Plato. Plato was born in 428 or 427 BCE at Athens, Greece, and he died 348 or 347 Athens. So Plato was a student of Socrates and also a teacher of Aristotle. Socrates, don't forget, got everything he got from Egypt. Everything he knew. And I've already told you, both Jesus in the New Testament and Socrates share the same belief about heaven. About the afterlife, what happens when you die. But they both didn't believe that there is a hell and a heaven for anybody to go to. You know what I'm saying? So it was Plato, who, a teacher of Aristotle, a student of Socrates, that started populating this concept of heaven and hell. And so therefore, gradually, this concept started creeping in, because this concept existed before Christianity. You got to know that. As early as 300 BCE, this concept existed way before Christianity. And this concept was coming out of Greek philosophy. So Jesus did not introduce the concept of heaven or hell, neither did he affirm the concept of heaven or hell. Didn't. Jesus believed that when you die, there's an afterlife for you. If you are a sinful being, you don't make it in the afterlife. They shut you down. But if you are an obedient being to the God of Jesus, then all of a sudden, there's hope for you. So if anything at all, there is hope for you when you leave this existence. When your time is up to give up this body, there's hope for you. Because when you live the life of righteousness, then you go. And this is the teachings of Jesus. Please, Christians must do better. So Plato is the one that introduced the idea of heaven and hell, and was gradually pulled in to latter Christianity. Therefore, this concept of the journey after this experience is almost similar to the intelligence and the spirituality of our fathers. Because our fathers believe in a dimension called Ensamando, the never-ending realm, or the never-ending realm in Samando, which we go to continue our journey from this experience. So you see, this whole concept of heaven or hell, or heaven and hell, is totally bogus, and it's coming from a place of philosophy. Now, I decided not to use any scripture today, because tomorrow, for those who will still look at me like, he has no idea, it is said here, it is said here, it is said here. Tomorrow, I will move not a step deeper, because honestly, I've explained everything from the beginning of the video. But tomorrow, just for the sake of our brothers and sisters who are still caught up, I will bring you all that the scripture have to say about heaven and hell, and you judge for yourself if the scripture is even suggesting that there's any place called hell. Have a great evening. I love you guys. Please don't forget to subscribe after watching this video. Let's wake our family up. Let's wake everybody you. They say, make it your mantra that by the end of the year, you would wake everybody that you know up to also experience this amazing life and freedom that you are experiencing right now. Have a great evening. I love you guys.